Okay, you know how I said I wasn't going to be doing this one just now? Well, the Phoenixes kind of showed me the way. Hey guys, this is gamercal. We're playing Imperishable Nights, Touhou number 8. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff with this one. And as I said, I wasn't going to be doing this one just now, but you know, I've kind of grown on it after doing that extra thing. So, yes, I'm not going to be doing Lunatic at the moment. We have an odd story to this one, I think. It's basically the full moon is kind of being corrupted by somebody, and whoever you use, you know, one of 4 teams, it's not just single players this time, it's teams of people, one of 4 teams actually goes out to investigate by stopping time, hence creating an imperishable night. The spell is not perfect, however, time progresses when you go through stages, but you know, that's just kind of there. So, as I kind of said, there are 4 teams with this one. You control a human when unfocused and a yokai when focused. So, you know, 4 peoples go out, and yeah, let's just have a quick look at them all, I suppose. So, every team has got their own unique gimmick as well, like with Reimu over here, she doesn't get hurt when you go through familiars. With Yukari, it's the fact that she has Ran, you know, yada yada. Most of them have got their own unique little skills as well, which are sort of useful, you know, the team characteristics at the bottom, which is nice. And yeah, we've got, of course, Reimu Yukari, you know, border team has to be there, as I've just been describing. Marissa, Alice, well, they would be nice if it wasn't for the fact of Alice is really crap, but you know, Marissa is good, but Alice just really isn't. And then we have the Scarlet Devil team. Of course, you've seen Remilia already, but we have Sakuya as well. The problem is Sakuya is extremely weak, so the only thing that she's good for really is her ability of slowing down the item speed, but, you know, the items falling off the screen, but whatever. And then, oddly enough, we have the final bosses basically from, you know, the last game. We have Yuyuko and Yomu come back, which is pretty cool. Yomu is very strong but very awkward to use, and then Yuyuko is rather weak but very, very widespread, much more so than even Reimu, you know, with her homing stuff. So, very, very different mixes of styles here, you know, there's a lot of different character shot types you can use, and the game can play very differently depending on who you use. You can also play the characters solo if you have 1cc normal 6B. I don't think it has to be normal, but so long as you 1cc stage 6B with every team, which means you have to clear the game 8 times, but you know, so long as you do that, you can then play with the characters individually, which is hit and miss, because, you know, half of the characters aren't that great, but half of them are really pretty freaking good. Like Yomu, Remilia, Marissa, and Yukari are all very good for solo characters. The problem is the game's mechanics were not designed to be played for solo characters, and therefore you lose quite a lot of, what's it called? You lose quite a lot of the style of the game if you do that. In terms of gameplay, Imperishable Night is pretty much my least favourite out of the 6 of them, the main ones. It's not because it's bad, it's because I don't like both halves of any one team, and therefore when it comes to actually choosing shot types, I really struggle. Because, you know, say like, I really love Marissa in this game as well, because she's pretty powerful, she's still really fast, and you know, the whole thing, it just works for me. But Alice is absolutely awful. The thing is, trying to play with solo Marissa is much harder than trying to play with a team, so it's very difficult to do. So, just a little quick thing, I'll go through some of the mechanics of this as well. Every character has got their own little option type thing, you know, which is nice. And, you know, the yokai have got a different familiar style of thing. In the bottom left hand corner you can see this little blue gaugey type of thing, which is not always blue, it can be red as well depending on where you're firing at and stuff. But basically that is a, you know, human yokai gauge, so you can see how, you know, what type of character you're using most. So if you use a yokai more, then, you know, you'll be at the yokai half of the gauge. And the way the, you know, whole point scoring gimmick works in this game is that you need to collect time. collecting time will allow you to pretty much get a lot more points for what your stuff is worth, so, you know, you definitely want that. And also, you can see time on the right hand side is at 7,200 as a maximum, and what you really want to do is you want to get over that by the end of the stage, because if you can manage that, then you'll be able to only advance the game's clock by half an hour instead of a full hour, which of course is extremely useful if you're wanting to actually see the game, because in this one the continues work on time. You know, if you use a continue, you advance the clock by half an hour, and if the clock reaches 5 AM and it starts at about midnight type, no, it starts at 11 PM, so you have 6 hours in total, and if the thing reaches reaches 5 o'clock, that's game over. The thing is, to avoid this, you want to be collecting a lot of time at the end of the levels, because if you collect a lot of time, then you advance the clock by only half an hour instead of 1 full hour. So you get more chances to do the stages and stuff. Not too difficult a concept really when you think about it, so it's all, you know, straightforward enough. Anyway, you know, as we've kind of not really been talking about the game, you know, mechanics, I've been talking about time mechanics, we've not really been talking too much otherwise. You've probably noticed the spell circle stuff that comes out around there. When I am not in yokai form, they appear. Basically, they are familiars, and they are support platforms for the bosses to shoot bullets out. You know, that's just kind of nice. You can destroy them if you're a human, you know, side character at the time, which is why solo yokai are generally not that good. But, you know, it's really dependent on what you want to be doing at the time, you know, whether you want to be destroying the familiars or whether you want to be just attacking the boss itself, you know, it really depends. But, oh, I should maybe explain about how to actually get time. There's, apart from killing the enemies whilst there's lots of familiars on the screen, you know, oops, oh wow, okay, that's kind of bad. But yeah, killing the familiars will give you some time, or killing an enemy when there's familiars that it possesses still on the screen gives you a lot more time. However, you also get time for damaging stuff when you are over 80% on your human gauge, or you get them for grazing when you are over 80% in your yokai gauge. The problem with the latter is that, if I remember rightly from what I've been playing of this, the effect only happens during bosses or mid-bosses, so you won't be getting the whole, you know, yokai grazing thing unless you're in a boss, which means in the stages you want to be a human side so that you can collect lots of time. The only issue with that is if you're using a solo yokai, then you can't get the human side of the gauge, so, you know, that's kind of why you need both a human and a yokai to do this effectively. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the game. You see, I didn't get up to the time because of that death, so yeah, that's the main thing of it. One thing I didn't show is that in this game, your bombs, each character has got their own bomb, and when you get hit, if you death bomb, you actually get a more powerful bomb, which costs you 2 bombs instead of 1. So it's a weird system. It can really eat your bombs up if you're not careful. But the other thing I'm gonna do just now, I think, is to go into spell practice, because this game, unlike all the others until Touhou 13 comes out, has a mode where you can actually go and practice the stages, you know, practice the spell cards in the stages. So I can go in and I can practice at any difficulty that I've played, and I can, you know, basically do that. The catch is you can't use any bombs during it, so you're restricted to, you know, having either clear it without dying, or, you know, you don't, basically. So I'm only showing this off very briefly just now because I'm pretty much, you know, I'm not that fussed, to be honest, but I want to just, you know, make it known because I don't want to do a full separate episode for this. So yeah, that's basically kind of it. So I'm not going to give a choice as to who I'm going to use in this one because I'm going to be doing the 1cc of hard, and I am most familiar and most capable of doing it with a couple of different shot types. That's pretty much how it's going to go. I'm not going to give choices with this one because I am much less confident at doing it with anybody in this one. And I already had, way before I started this LP, I already had a fully set plan as to how I wanted to do this one. So you'll just have to live with what comes up. Anyway, this has been gamercal. You have been watching Imperishable Nights intro thing, and join me next time when we go and start the game for real. Let's do this thing. See you guys.